Good evening and welcome to a moment of clarity. And this evening we're going back to our butterflies on beautiful parchment. So I hope that you're there. I'm early to the party, and we did get together with some beautiful butterflies, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago? But then we ran out of time, and so we decided to get back together and have another run at it. So that's what we're doing now. Welcome to the party. I hope you're ready. I've got a cup of tea somewhere. So I'll just show you those beautiful stamps while I grab my tea. There you go. That's the way to do it. And I think while I'm over here, I'll grab some parchment to show off as well. And my brew. Right, and now we're ready to rock and roll. God, it's been a long day. Anybody there? Good, I can see there is life beyond the camera. Good to see you. Good to have your company. And Paul's in the building with you, so if you have any questions, he will be able to help you. If there are any problems, Paul, with my mic or the sound is all clear, we're using a new system, as you can see. So we've got our logo up here and my name down there in case you don't know who I am. And of course, we've got the moment of clarity here too. So that's what we're doing. And we're using these lovely butterflies from Cherry Green. Hello, good to have your company. Oh, there are loads of you. Good evening, everyone. And easy to find us? I hope so. Let's have another look at these butterflies, because this was what we were doing, isn't it? And they're just magnificent, actually. Just beautiful, beautiful, large stamps. And so I just wanted to have a little recap, look at a little bit of artwork, settle in. We're scheduled to do an hour, but you know, if it takes a little bit longer, are you going anywhere? I don't think there's anything special on the telly. Not this evening. Not really any time at the moment. Good to have your company, though. These evening craft-alongs, I mean, this is evolving, isn't it? You know, I'm quite liking this idea. I really am. I'm not joking. It's quite nice to hang out and be creative in the evenings with a group of friends. You know, because I always find in the main, when it gets to the evenings, I'm pretty tired, you know. So apart from, I'm not really, unless I've got a destination, I don't know if you're like this, like I've got a destination to come and hang out with you, then I'm full of beans. But on my own, left to my own devices, I don't think I'd come up here at 7 o'clock in the evening and play with me butterflies. What about you? So I like these craft-alongs. I think this could be a regular thing. These moment of clarity, we showcase the new, oh wait, do you see what I'm going to showcase at the end of this hour? But that's at the end of the hour. Let's look at these butterflies first. But I think we can make this a regular thing, you know, that we take a beautiful set of stamps or stencils or whatever, and we could do this with Pergamano, with Groovy as well, couldn't we? And then we have a craft along. And then when we've had one craft along, we can take the same set and then have another run at it. I think so. Why not? Get some mileage out of our designs. That's what I say. So these are the stamps that we're working with. Who's got them? Come on, hands up. Who's got the stamps? Who's crafting along? And who's just hanging out because they want the company? That's okay too. Hi, Ken. I can see you there. Good to have your company. Right. So I thought it would be a good idea if I just put them over there. I thought, first of all, we'll have a little gallery. We'll look at some beautiful artwork from some of the clever design team. Linda Spencer, Jane Telford, Deb McMullin, Dee Paramore. Let's have a look at some lovely artwork. So you know, and then we'll go to what we were doing. We'll have a recap. Ready? Right. So there's a lovely piece. I think you can see this really well, can't you? Really lovely. So this is stamped and then it's glazed. I think we've got some glossy accents there, and that's that lovely grunge set, isn't it? Then we've got the same grunge set and one of the moths. It's shaded very cleverly so you can see, it feels like you could put your fingers underneath. Look at that. That's me, inky mess. Then this is a lovely one. This is Deb McMullin. I love this, with a tag. And then partial art, you know, we call it partial art, where you stamp off. This is on designer paper. Doesn't that look lovely? This is just so that everybody has time to get in the building, everybody has time to find us. Now this is nice. Now we're venturing into the world of parchment. This time we haven't stamped on parchment, Dee's done this one, but we've used parchment in the background. So you've got that lovely background. You see, it's designer parchment, really nice. And this is the shiny side, which is the back. So you'll see that the other side is dull. That's actually, officially, that's the front of the parchment. And the designer parchment, all coloured parchment, is flooded with colour on the back. Right, now this is a cool one. Do you remember we had a little competition about this one? This is really neat. Heaven sent. And what Dee did was she used the back of one of the designer pads, the swatch at the back that tells you what colours. Isn't that a clever idea? So I like that. That was a really, really nice piece of artwork. And then we're getting into stamping on the parchment too. This looks really nice. And you can see here, with a bit of clever use of the masks, because of course those butterfly stamps, they come with masks also. So in each pack, not only are you going to get you'll know this because you've got them probably, not only do you get your coloured inserts for inspiration from Cherry, but you get the masks in there too. There's a bag of masks. I've got mine somewhere. Where did I put mine? Oh, here they are. Here we go. See, so you get your masks as well. And you can use them again and again and again. So this one, for example, this has just been set over the top of this one, like that. There you go. So you put that over there. Then you take a makeup sponge, black archival ink, and then you smear out like that. This is a talky throughy demo. When you lift that away, you've got that really dramatic depth. And of course the masks, you can use them again and again and again. There we are. So that's how they work. They're handy, very handy indeed. Right, so we got that. And now we're getting into the realm of lovely parchment art. This is nice as well. This is a lovely one. So you can see we've got a little bit of overlay going on. And if you get in close on this one, I mean, it's a shame we can't feel this, but it's actually raised. Let's come in a bit closer. I don't know. And that's what we're going to do this evening, is start taking that designer paper and then using, designer parchment, and using it for how it was intended. So this whiteness that you get, this really sharp whiteness here, the only way that you can create that kind of whiteness is by a traditional parchment whitework. So that's where we're going to be going tonight. And if we look at this one, finally, you'll remember this from the Shack Shack. But what I love, what Dee's done here is, it's the layers of art. Look, it's like it's so clever, because the butterflies lend themselves really beautifully to what we call decoupage. So those of you who are new, you can see underneath, it's actually stamped, right? So we stamped it, masked it off, then stamped the Shack Shack, let the sun shine in, straight over the top, then stamped the butterfly onto, I think this is Shenandoah parchment, and then cut it out. And then you just use a little bit of the 3mm, you know, the red skin double-sided adhesive, just on the body. And then you cut out different layers, different levels of butterfly wings. Isn't that nice? You see, the thing about parchment is, it's quite, even as delicate as it is, that's as robust as it is as well. So we're going to put it through its paces today. But look at the background on that. Isn't that just delightful? Yeah? It's got loads and loads of the moths and butterflies, all just stamped randomly over the back. See? That's a nice background. Just using, I don't know, is that a mustard seed ink pad, you think? A yellow, or maybe one of the artistry ink pads? It's good, isn't it? So that's our little gallery. And what I want to do now is have a look at what we did. Let's have a little recap of what we did a couple of weeks ago when we got together. Is everybody in the building now? Are we looking forward to this? Come on then. See, we can't we can't redo what we did last week, or it's just going to be like Groundhog Day. We're just going to end up at the top of the hour. We're going to be back where we started again. So let's have a look. I'll talk through what we did, and then we'll move forward. Okay. So what we did last week, this was interesting. We stamped 3 of the butterflies, let's say. This is the front of the parchment. We stamped 3 of the butterflies, but instead of stamping them into like this, what we did was we overlaid them. As I just showed you, you stamp the one that's at the front, you cover it up with the mask, and then you stamp the other 2 behind. So that we did. And this is what we're going to head towards. This is the one we're going to head towards to do some colouring. And this particular designer parchment, I think this is my favourite actually. I love this one. And I've got a feeling it's why May falls. Let's have a look, because I think it's even, look, it's behind me as well. Behind me. See behind me there with the mask. Have a look at that, because I'm pretty sure. There it is. Yeah, I love this one. Look. Yeah, particularly pleased with this one. So this is the one that we're using here, right? So we've just turned it round. You see, because it's the thing about parchment is it's translucent. So that's the back and that's the front. But you can see, this is the magic of it. You can see the image at the front and the back. So we had a bit of fun with that, didn't we, last time? So that's why May Falls parchment. Well worth investing in a pad of that. Right, now 48 leaves, 12 designs, 4 of each. So this is what we're going to do today, is look at this one. Let's just recap what we did last week. So we learned how to layer up the butterflies by stamping them. And to stamp onto parchment, there's a couple of things that we need to just reiterate, just if anybody is new to the party today, okay? You need a permanent ink pad. So archival black really is the best. Let's talk about VersaFine and let's talk about archival black. Right, now, fast drying black ink pad, permanent. Slower drying black ink pad, permanent. Now, the thing about this is, if you were to use VersaFine on your parchment, it won't dry as fast as the archival. It will take a long time to dry, right? So that's why I prefer to go with archival on parchment. It just means that you've got to stamp it before it dries on the stamp, because it will. If you dither and you hover over with the stamp, you ink it up and then you think, oh, where am I going to put this? By the time you've hovered around deciding where you're going to put it, it's already dried on the stamp. But there we are. That's okay. I've got tricks and tips to remedy those problems as well. So that's where we're going to go. Then the other thing that we did that was a bit high, Barbara. And the other thing that we did, right. Then the other thing that we did last week, or the week before, we were stamping. We stamped on to a bit of copy paper, didn't we? And then we decided, in keeping with what I'm saying about planting the image quickly, we used the image on the copy paper to decide where we wanted to stamp it on the front. The front of the parchment being the dull side and the back of the parchment being the glossy side. Okay, but you can see here, these are reflections. They're not flying in the same direction. They're flying towards each other. So this is the way to make reflections reverse imaging on parchment. We're going to use the translucency. So we used this, stamp this one on, right? Ink up, black archival, bosh. So now we know where that one is. But this one, of course, it's the other way around. So how did we get it this way around? Right, so you flip it over and you decide where you want to sit the second one, and then you stamp this one on the back of the parchment. And then that means that when you turn it around and you look to the front of the parchment, both images have the same line art. They look exactly the same, the one stamped on the front and the one showing through from the back. Genius. Yeah. The only thing you've got to remember, and this was what we did, to get rid of the colour, if you remember, you need a white rubber, don't you? So, for example, on the back of parchment, you see how you can erase the colour? Now, the thing is that this white rubber, if you remember, this is just a little recap. The white rubber also will take out the black ink. So in that regard, before I was able to stamp the one on the back, see, this one, I could take the white rubber and I could go in the back. Do you remember? I bet you it's jogging your memory now. And I could go in on the back and I could rub out all the colour in the back of the butterfly like that. Do you remember? And the artwork, of course, isn't affected at all because the black line is on this side. But if I was to take this and rub that now, then all the black ink would be removed as well, because the black ink now is on this side of the parchment. So if you remember, what we did was we decided where we were going to stamp the butterfly. We taped it up. We got rid of the ink before we stamped over the top, and that's how we got that. See, so you get rid of the ink before you stamp, otherwise you won't be able to get rid of the ink. And that, my friends, is how we do reverse stamping on parchment, which is very clever, even if I say so myself. Right, so that was that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look at white work and how to colour in. So we're going to use parchment now, but we're going to just start embossing, because the thing about parchment is you can get fantastic white work. If you're a groover, you know this. You can stretch the parchment and make it really white. So there will be a lot of you who are new to this, and this is a really, really fabulous property of parchment for stampers. You don't have to be a groover. You don't have to be a parcher to appreciate the properties of parchment. And the design of parchment is really, really lovely. Blooming good price as well, because I know what parchment costs. And the price of parchment is going through the COVID roof at the moment. It's crazy. Really unbelievable. It's like there's like some sort of global parchment shortage. I don't know. Anyway, so this is what we're going to do now. So we'll park this one for a minute, the clever reversal one. We'll leave that one and we'll start, just keep it simple, and let's go to this one. All right. So the first thing we want to do is take this out of here. I've just attached it with, so that I want to show you the back as well. And I think this is worth noting. Let's just look at the back before we start. Now this is the front. So let's take a close look at the front. Yeah, forgive my fingers, I've been inking. But you can see those white dots. See the white inside the butterfly? Can you see that? All those white dots. Right, now that's done by stretching the parchment. Now let's turn the parchment over and let's look on the back, because this is something about the translucency of the parchment. Look how vivid and bright the colouring is on the back. If I turn it over, it's more muted. Of course it is, it's coming through from the behind. So at some point you may say, well, actually, I prefer that side. And there is no rule. I did not write the rule book, and I certainly did not read it, right? There is nothing that says that you can't use the back of the parchment as the front of the parchment. Yeah. The only thing is, what you'll find is that when you touch it, to get the white, it will be raised, it will be embossed. Whereas on this side, the white's still there. The white is certainly still there, but now it's debossed. It's embedded rather than protruding. But just for the sake of argument, let's just put this parchment through its paces. Have you got, from the last time we were together, have you got your 3 butterflies like that and stamped on there? So they've had a long time to dry, and this is worth bearing in mind when you're working with parchment. It takes a while, especially if you're going to colour in on the front as well. Now let's just put this to one side and let's decide, first of all, white work. So what we're going to do, if you're not a parcher, if you're a parcher, you're going to have embossing tools. you know, we own Pergamano. So you've got these ball tools, loads of them, all different size balls. And then we've also got, for those of you who don't want to get into that, you just want a couple of tools to be able to stretch parchment. We've got these ones, the starter kit ones. So you got number one, numero uno, dos, tres, and cuatro, right? Number one, look, it's a stylus. Number two's got a little tiny ball at the end. Number three, it's got a larger ball. And then number four is the biggest ball, right? So this is what we're going to use to stretch the parchment and get in there. Get in there. Right, now let me just, what we need is a mat. We've got groovy mats and we've got groovy mats and we've got all sorts of mats. We've got a blue mat. We've got a kit, actually, really good price. Look, I'll show you. So you've got a mat that's hard for colouring. When you turn it over, it's soft. We've also, let me just show you, this is all different possibilities. We've got the black mat, right, hard, for colouring, for crafting, soft on the back. That's for white work, okay? And then if you're heavy-handed, we got the pink mats, Pergamano mat. A lot of you will use this. And there isn't a right or a wrong side to that, I don't think. One side's got a bit of a rib, like a, not rib, but like a texture. Use whatever side you fancy. Whichever side flaps your flares. Right. So it's that one, or the black one. You pick which one you've got. If you're using this one, this is the most forgiving one. The pink one's the forgiving one. Right? Comes in a big tube like this. You look, Linda Williams. There she is, me bestie. Look, I even managed to get my own dial on there. There you go, Linda. Look. Just the two of us. Da, da, da. Right, so anyway, so that's the excellent mat from Pergamano. This one is the most forgiving one. You don't have to worry about going through the parchment with that one. That's the one, really. This one, if you're new to this, now where did I put that? I was hanging on to that bit of plastic, hanging on to the bit of plastic. I've been staring at it all afternoon. Now I've lost it. Stay there. Have you got a bit of plastic? Here's a piece. Oh, that's a big piece. I don't need one that big. I just need a bag. Right, I'm going to use this bag. Right, so what you need is a poly bag. I'll show you a trick. Let's take a poly bag. Right, I just need a bit of plastic. Okay, right. And then, so this is where I get my plastic from. And what this will do, let me just open that up. This will serve to resist the pressure a little bit. And what I mean by that is, if we, let's take the black mat, you probably see it best on the black one. If we take this and we put this underneath that, then we're working from the back, which is the shiny side. And what you'll find is when you use a bit of plastic like that, it will just stop you pressing so hard. It acts as a resist. Yeah. So what we're going to do now, are you ready for this? Right. Come on. It's already 20 past. I bet they've all been sitting there like that, waiting patiently. Or are you already on your third butterfly? Sorry. So I've got to kind of keep up with you. Just checking what glasses I've got on. So this is a really good kind of introduction, not just into stamping on parchment and how to use ink on parchment, but also how to do white work. Yeah, real beginning. See, I like mixing it up. I like using parching skills with stamping. To be honest, I've used parchment with my stamping for 20 years. This is not new. So what we're going to do, let's just start. The simplest thing we want to do, see, if I press, let's just test up here, right? If I press and I do that in the darkest area with the number 2 tool, then when I turn it over, see how white it is? I think we've got to come in a bit closer, Barbara. Come in a little closer, baby. Right, now you can see. Watch. See how white that is now? If I use the number 1 tool, you just got to test your pressure. Test your pressure. If I use the number 1 tool, it'll be really, really sharp, really, really, right? But I may go through the parchment. Let's check. See, I've been doing this for a few years. So, but number 2, number 1. If you want to get into the dots, you see the dots on the butterfly? I'm going to use the number 1 tool. And what you do is you just gently press on and then do a little wiggle, look, like that. Let's see if it works. See how bright that gets if you do this. It's much, much brighter. You could not get into this area. I don't know how else you would do this. You couldn't do this with a white pencil. It would never go this white. Look. Let's have a look what happens. See how beautiful and sharp and white that is? Let's do it on that side as well. So this is a real relaxing. And even in the darkest areas, we haven't taken the parchment out of this, have we? We haven't taken the colour out of the parchment. We're just focusing on the white work. So this is where, if you wanted to, you could take the colour out, you know, like we did last time. We'll do the one in the middle. But I just wanted to show you, first of all, let's just do some white work. So what we can do now is we could combine what we learned last time with what we're doing this time. We're using the soft mat, okay, to create white work. And I'm using the smallest tool to get some really, see, let's say I want to make these dots white. Let's have a look. And you just look, just as if you were using a pen. That's all. Just wiggle. Let's have a look if it's working. You can see all the white dots coming together, can't you? Look, you see it all? It's quite interesting how quickly it comes together. So that's the first thing I want to show you, is how to do this. Okay. Now, once I've done this, what I'm doing here is I'm pushing, I'm stretching the parchment. Now, if I'm stretching the parchment, then if I want to rub out say I want to rub out the colour, I really, really, really should do that before I do this. Because when I rub over the top, and also I definitely, if I want to take the colour out, I definitely want to turn my mat to the hard side before I do this. Yeah. And if I'm going to take the colour out, I want to make sure that I'm on the side that's not stamped on, the back. Yeah. So let me just take I'll show you. You should really be doing this before you do your embossing. But I just thought we want to get started. See? So you could do this now, but let's say with the second butterfly, let's just, because this is the one I'm going to colour in on, right? So let's just take a bit of colour out. And let's take it to the next level of shading as well. Because this is another thing. With shading, you can completely eliminate the colour, right? So now, for example, I'm going to take out the colour altogether in that area. But then perhaps in this area here, rather than completely get rid of the colour, perhaps I want to leave a little bit of colour. Now, for that, I've got a pink rubber. So the pink rubber, it doesn't take out the colour as harshly, yeah, so or as radically. So you can get like a bit more of a graduation, if you like, yeah. So let's look. Say this bit here is quite dark. So if I'm looking at this bit here, and I want to take out the colour in this butterfly wing, then rather than take the white one and just knock out the colour altogether, maybe it's like I'm doing white work, but I'm doing it with an eraser pencil. Okay. The thing about this is, though, I'm just knocking out the colour. I'm not creating whiteness like that because I'm not stretching the parchment. We could do that as well, but this is, remember, this is what we were doing last week, or when we got together last time. We're taking the colour out, but we've got the white and the pink eraser, and the white one will take out the colour completely. Like, you can hear it, it's harder, and it will really take out the colour, whereas the pink one is softer. So if maybe I just want to take them out the body there, look, like, seriously, and perhaps a little bit in this area here, because it's a little bit dark. It'll be very difficult to colour this wing in here when it's that dark already. We'll have a challenge getting the colour in. But like I say, this really you should be doing, well, it doesn't matter, look, it still works. Yeah, still works. If you put a bit of white behind that, you can see exactly where you're taking it out now. You see? So that's trick number 2. You've got a white for radical and a pink for more subtle. Erasure. Is that a word? Right, now let's go back on here, and once you start doing your white work again, you turn your mat over to the soft side now. You take your plastic resistant sheet. You're working on the side that's glossy, and then you start again. And on the little sharp bits, you can see what I'm doing here. Rather than lean on all the artwork with my hands, I'm turning my artwork around, so I'm only leaning on the mat. And the other thing is, you parchers out there, I bet you've got one of these. It's a groovy guard. It's brilliant for this sort of thing because it isolates the area that you're working on. Something very, very mindful about this process. So you can't see what's a butterfly and what's not in this bit. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there's a lot more whiteness going on there. Let's have a look. My eyesight really is not what it used to be, you know. Let's take my Dame Edna's now. I'm getting radical. I can't even see the antennae, the aerial. Have a look. Oh yeah, okay. It's there, I think. I'm struggling to see it. It's there, there, and there. It's a braille. It's because it just happens to be really dark in this area. All right, come on, Greg, give yourself a break. That one, and that one. See, if you can go from the front and you can see it, it goes white, but it debosses rather than embosses. But at least I can see it. Right, there you go. And nobody's going to be touching your artwork, are they? Right, okay. Cool. So I've done that. This is what the number 1 tool does. It gets into the tightest areas. What's the time? Oh, we're doing fine for time. Everybody happy? Right, come on then. Let's just get into this. Right. So we're going to do these like that. It's going to look nice, really nice. Let's do the white dots with the number 1. See, the more you do this, the more you get control of your pressures. You do. You get a feel for it, and you can just go through. Because we're working on the back, when you flip it over, you'll see it's coming out really lovely and white. Doesn't that look gorgeous? There. See? It's like braille when you feel it. Let's go in a real tight. I wonder if you can see this. Let's have a look. Let's go over onto this camera. Let's see. What have I just pressed? Let's try that camera. Right. Okay, with me Dame Edna's, I can't see a thing. Right, see the whiteness? Isn't that nice? There we are. So, take the white away, turn it over, take this, and then settle into doing some more colour. So the smallest dots, you can see very easily, you can use the stylus, especially if you've got the resist sheet underneath. So I'm doing that. There you go. When you get to a larger area, Let's have a look. Do you know, I could just stay here all evening just doing this. It's so relaxing, I find. Don't you? It's just lovely. Just to settle in and do this. These butterflies actually lend themselves very, very, very well to this job because they've got all that white. They've got all that white dotting. So let's do this. Come on, just relax into it for 5 minutes. And then what we'll do is we'll ramp it up a bit. So we're getting our eye in. Yeah. See how nice that is. We won't worry about the bottom one because we'll be here all night if we do that. But let's just, now where the dots get a bit bigger, I would suggest that we flip to the number 2 tool. Let's have a look. You should always use the tool that fits in the hole. So you say just press lightly in there and then you just start to stretch that parchment. So you go in there and you stretch the parchment. There we are. Let's have a look. So larger areas, you see, when the white starts getting a bit larger, then it's a good idea to use the larger tool. So let's say, for example, let's say on this butterfly here, let's just say on this butterfly here, they've got scallops around these areas here. Let's start by trying that out. So we go over again, go back to butterfly number 1, and let's just use that number 2 tool now, the number 2 tool I would, and then just come round and just start swinging backwards and forwards like that. Always check what you're doing. Turn it over. There you go, look at that. Brilliant. See, this is what we're going to do, this bit here. So flip over again. I mean, what else do you need? You've got the colour from the parchment. You've got the beautiful illustration from Cherry Green. You've got that lovely, beautiful colouring. You've erased it in part to make room for white work, and then in a minute we're going to add more colour. There you go, look. Just gently does it. Sometimes you may do 2 layers. You may want to go in once and then let it rest and then go back again. And you'll find when you do that, it will get whiter. Sometimes you just got to let the parchment rest in between layers. Let's have a look. Just go round. Take your time. Here we go. Isn't that nice? Just gently does it. Just tease that parchment out. Have a look when we turn it over. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And when you there is no other way that you could get that as white and as beautiful as that. Turn it over and off we go again. Am I going too fast or am I going too slow? Give me a clue. Let's just get into it. Do you do groovy? Have you started on the old parchment trip? Paul does a really cracking little session every Tuesday. Groovy Tuesday, don't you, Paul? Yeah. That was Paul saying yeah. Yeah, he does. And he takes it really gently, and we've really kind of taken the decision to travel gently through 2021 because it's been quite a rocky road, hasn't it, this last, what are we doing here? Yeah, it's been quite a rocky road, hasn't it? I think it's okay to just slow down, especially in the evenings, eh? Just hang out together, do a bit of artwork together, just teasing, swing back and forth. You know what's good as well, right? When you do this, if you go, just humour me now, pretend that you want to put a dot in that black. See what happens if we put a dot in the black in an area, or say you go over the black line. Where did I put it? See, doesn't come through. it doesn't come through. The black archival ink won't let you, it actually overrides. So if you go over the lines, that's what I'm trying to say. If you emboss over the black ink, it doesn't, you can't see it. The black ink stays true. So that's worth knowing as well. Okay. Now let's have a look now. Let's take the number 4 tool, the biggest of the balls, right? Back over on the back of the parchment again. And what we'll do is we'll see if let's take, for example, these wings here. Let's take this bit here. And what we want to do is try a bit of white here, right? Actually, you almost, if Linda was watching, Linda Williams, right, she'd take the number 6 tool and she would, if you wanted to do a bit of white work like this, she would go in with the number 6 tool, stretch that parchment, and she would see how it stretches it. Look how white it goes just by doing that. See, so that's the largest, it's the largest. What's this one? This is in that 4.5. See? So what we do is then we take the larger tool and you get a really soft, like it's almost diffused. But what we do is we parchers, we do one layer like that so we don't crunch it. See, you can see how white it is compared. You would do all of your large tool work, right? You start with a larger tool and you go like that. And then once you've gone all the way around with your larger tool, let it rest, let it rest, let it rest. Yeah. And then you go back with a smaller tool. So now, for example, and I'm coming from the edge because I want to put colour in this end. I'm going to put colour in there. The white work will always override the colour that you add on the back. So say, for example, let's have a look. Let's take the number 6 tool, the biggest one. That always gives you the softest, gentlest shading. Here we go. And when you turn it over, you can see the white coming through. Look at that. Isn't that delightful? And just by stretching the parchment. I mean, if you wanted to, let me show you something. If you wanted to, you could take a white pencil. God, they make me busy. Let me take my other glasses. You could take a white pencil, you know, like Pergamano pencil or a Pergaline, the white one. If you're not into the shading thing, I'll show you an alternative. If you don't want to stretch the parchment and put the parchment through its stretching paces, you could use a white pencil. And you know what? We've got something else that you could use as well, which is a white Posca pen, a white Posca pen. So you could do this as well. I'll show you. It's just because not everybody wants to do stretching exercises, do they? Let's have a look. So, for example, again, this is the front. Turn it over on the back, and let's pretend, okay, let's put some white on this one. First thing I've got to do, though, if you want the white to show, what's the first thing we've got to do? That's right. You've got to take the colour out. We've got to lose a bit of the colour before we can reintroduce it. So we're working on the back so that we don't eliminate the butterfly herself, right? So we get rid of the colour. So it's already light, but it's not white. That's the key. I mean, I think that you can't really get into the tightest spots with pencils, but you can certainly give it a go. Let's have a look. So let's just, like that bit there, that teardroppy area. Got to go in with quite a sharp pencil. Let's just do that half, right? Turn it over, check your progress. You can see where we've taken the colour out. Yeah? Turn it over again. Now, if we wanted to make this bit white, let's have a look if this works. I'm going in real heavy on the white with the pencil. See if it worked. Yeah, who says? Only thing is, this it feels embossed. This is as flat as a tack. But there you go. So a white pencil, and if you're good at this, you can do the white on the front as well. You just got to stay away from the black lines. It goes really, really white. Yeah? Look, you could put a bit of a, I mean, who says? Why can't you combine it? Why can't you do a little bit of white? Look at that. All the traditional parchers are going, no, Barbara, you just lost my vote. Well, there you go. C'est la vie. I cater to all sizes. But you see how you can combine. So you can use your pencil, you can use your stretching exercises, you can do your tools. The only thing I would say, let's humour me here, right? Take your soft mat again. Take your soft mat, take your plastic sheet, unless you're a seasoned parcher, in which case you probably don't need this. In fact, if you're a seasoned parcher, you're probably using this anyway, aren't you? Go on, hands up. Who's using the pink mat? Who's using the pink mat? Go on, Jane Telfer, put your hand up. I know you are. Who's using the pink mat? And who says you should get the pink mat? Who agrees that the pink mat is dynamite? It's like a baking tray mat. I wouldn't recommend you put it in your cooker though. I don't know what would happen to it. Anyway, it's supposed to be for white work. Well, this is what I think. When you look at the, are there loads of hands going up now? All you seasoned parchers? Yeah, I bet. Right. Let's have a look at this one here. If I were trying to get in on these lines with a white pencil, the real tight ones, I think I would struggle. So that's when my embossing skills come in. That's when I need a stylus, right? Because say I want to do these stripes in white, then I can come in here, right, watch, and I can come round. I'll use my number 2. I'll play it safe, right? And you can feel when you go round, you couldn't get in this tight, I don't think, with a pencil. This is really tight, right? This is, and then we're going to do this one here. Let's go around again. See, to get in there with a pencil, I've got to get in there with my stylus. Really tight. Now maybe when it gets larger here, there you go. I mean, you can do the same with a groovy plate. Use a number 1 for sharper, number 2 for softer. No different. Now let's have a look. So that's quite soft. There. See how you can get in on really on a sharp line. I love. See, I'll tell you what I love is see what I'm showing you here. No, here is it. There. I really like black art on parchment. So when you're doing parchment art, it's usually white, isn't it? The groovy plates, they give you white line art. But doesn't it look superb when it's black line art, but you're still applying all the parchment tricks? See, I like this look. I think this looks really just very effective, especially when you, obviously not on black, but when you mount it. I mean, that just looks delightful. It's also, I feel, if you're using faces or figures or, you know, like Linda Williams, she did the beautiful children's plates. I love them stamped as well, because I think as soon as there's a face in play or facial expressions or eyes, they look a bit ghosty if they're white. But you can use a groovy plate with a black pen, you know. I know you can. I've done it. Yeah, you just take a black pen and go around. Instead of using the stylus, use a black biro. Round you go. Oh yeah. Right, now, so what I'm explaining here in my clumsy way is that your number 1 stylus gets in the really tight areas, okay, like that. And your larger ball tools are much better for shading. So the number 3 and the number 4, if you want to put a little bit of a let's say you don't want to completely colour the body, you just want to put a bit of a light, a highlight. Let's do just a highlight on the body of the butterfly. See? So what you do is you see if I'm doing this right. Have a look. Yeah, see, you go up the middle and you avoid the outside. So you take your ball tool, your larger ball tool. What have I got here? Number 3, right? And then up there, you run up the middle. So you're not gonna get rid of the black line up the center. But when you do light feathery strokes from the middle, let's have a look if this works. Light feathery strokes. So what that means is you're not actually going to the ends. You're flicking up. You flick, 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 flick. Let's have a look if that worked. So then when you turn it over, yeah, you're just adding colour in this area. So let's pretend you've done all your white work. White work first. I think so. I think white work first. Right? Then we're gonna, let's say I'm just adding a little bit more white work. Another generation of white work. But this time, look, can't remember watching a video once when I didn't know what I was doing, and I was trying to, when we'd first started with Groovy, and I remember watching this YouTube, an American lady, traditional parcher, and it was about white work. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to learn this, and this is what she did. She went long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short. So she did that, right? And I kept watching long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short. And I thought, well, any minute now, this is half an hour of this we were doing this long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke. And after a while, I thought, well, I kept watching because I thought, in a minute we're going to do something else. So for half an hour, I listened to her going, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke. And then after half an hour, she said, goodbye. That was the end of the video. See ya. But I learned something that I could learn in no other way. It is embedded in my head. Long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke. And she's so right, because what you do is you go higher and lower and higher and lower. So it's like light feathery strokes. But because of the short stroke, you don't get stripes. The short stroke goes back over the long stroke. Long stroke, short stroke, long stroke. So you're just edging along all the time. And you get a beautiful graduation. Let's check it out. Right? So if I take that one, take my piece, offer it up to the camera, and you'll see, like, I wish you could feel it, because it's starting to stretch now. But you see how you just get a beautiful white work. Isn't that nice? Absolutely lovely. Okay, so I think for homework, do your white work, practice it, use your different ball tools and decide, yeah, which ball tools you're going to go into. What are you going to make really beautiful white? What are you going to, and where do you want your colour to be? Now let's look at the original one. Let's go back to the original one where the colour is. And see, if you look, see the pink here? Right, let's do that thing. So let's do a bit of colour. You ready for this? Let's do a bit of colour now. Right, so this time you flip your mat round. Put your plastic bit where you can find it, grey. Flip your mat round, and this time we'll use a hard side. We'll use the B pencils in the pergoliners. And we're going to do it. We're just going to do this thing, right? I'll tell you what we haven't done, but you could do it for homework because it's lovely. It's like little speckles. Look, I forgot to show you. See the little speckles of white? You know how to do that, don't you? And come on, we've just done it. Turn it over, do that. Take your number 2 tool and then just go random, or your number 1 actually. But what is really important is this. Go like that, go like that. Take your number 1 tool and then practice up in the corner first so you know what you're doing. Right, and you're making little dots like this. So it's like little pollen dots. Let's have a look if it works. turn it over. You like it, then do it. You want it to be bigger, then practice up in the corner or practice on a bit of scrap and then decide. Want it to be bigger, use the number 2 tool. Let's have a look. Decide how big you want the pitch to be, the distance between them. See, like so. Nice. And then, but I would suggest, personally, you do that right at the end. After you've done all your colouring in, I would do that. I wouldn't do it yet. I'd do the colouring in first. Right, you ready to move on to your pergoliners? What's the time? It can't be 10 to 8 already. Come on, chop, chop. Pergoliners next. All your polychromos. You pick. I mean, we own Pergamano, so obviously we've got a warehouse full of Pergamano gear. Right, hard mat. We really have. We really do. Right, so hard mat, let's have a look. We're going to work on the back. We'll work on the back and we're going to use our B pencils. Let's use our B pencils. B for blending. You could use your polychromos as well if you got them. Polychromos are a bit deluxe, aren't they? The Faber-Castell ones, always. Let's use the yellow one. Let's use the yellow, and let's use the pink, the purpley one, and yes, a blue. There you go, that'll do. What you do is you pick the colours in the background in the designer paper. So there you got a bit of yellow, got a bit of pink, got a bit of pink, got a bit of blue, got a bit of blue. Got a light bit of blue, got a light bit of blue. Right, so we've got 4 pencils, all in the background. Nice. Okay, does that work? Paul uses an excellent mat. I know he does. That's his favourite one. That's his go-to, isn't it, Paul? So what we're going to do now is add our colour. And start with a lighter colour and then decide where do you want to go. So you start on the back and then we're going to add colour. And again, you see, if we add a little bit of yellow through here, you don't have to worry about, let me just show you. So if I turn this over, it's yellow now. That wasn't so hard, was it? Hang on, let me get a bit of white. You can't see it very well. Right, see? Yellow. So you could put the colour on the back with the perga liners. And you can press really hard, and it doesn't matter if you go over. You don't have to be exact. It looks a bit ropey. If this isn't going to be the front, if it's going to be the front, then you're going to have to be a little bit more careful, right? But this isn't going to be the front, it's going to be the back. Right. And the other thing is, if you use Dorso oil, which you can, Dorso oil is an oil that you use, and you can, we don't need to do that today, but you could use Dorso oil to smooth this out. I don't think it needs it. Not here, right? But where's those blending nibs? You just need a nib. Let me take a nib. Have you got these? They're really good for blending. God, Barbara, how many nibs have you got? Just get a nib. That'll do. Right, you see. So, for example, let's put the pink. I want to put the pink in here. Right. Now, I'm gonna go a little bit easy. I'm not pressing quite so hard because I want it to be more graduated, right? So, the same as I was doing the embossing, this is really the way to go, you know. The same as I was doing the like long stroke, short stroke, long stroke, short stroke, right? That's how I would add the colour there, like so. So you're flicking, you're doing the light feathery strokes from the back, and in the way you're adding depth. You see how you're adding depth just by shading. You're shading. And it's quite forgiving because, of course, you're working from behind. Oh, look, I just found the other. Right. Take that out of the way for a minute. So this is pretty cool. This is a great way to get a really lovely depth of contrast there. And if you, like I say, if you use the Dorso oil, I've got it here. It's not that I haven't got it. I can show you how it works if you like. But, you know, you could just as easily, let's see if it dry blends. I bet it does. Of course it does. There you go. See, just take your blending pen, just take your nib and just smooth it out like that. That works just a charm. Works really well, right? So you smooth it out. There we are with a dry nib. A lot less mess, right? And you can see how that's really dark on that side. When you flip it over, you've got that lovely muted effect because the white emboss will always supersede. It will always override. If I put pink, I don't know how white this is, but if I was to put pink in this area, let me just see if this works. It might change it a little bit, but the white, so I've put a bit of pink there. Okay, when I turn it over, it dulls the white down a little bit, but you see how the white hasn't been completed yet. The white will always override when you stretch the parchment. There you see, you can't see the pink behind it. Yeah. So that's good to know. Having said that, it's always best to do the white work first because then you can see it. You see what you're doing. You can see what you're doing. Yeah, so that's how you get your colours in place. Let's do the body. Again, we're working from the back to do the colouring. Let's do a bit of body work. We're going to put the colour down the sides of the body. Here we go. See, and we've done the white work down the middle. So you can go over the white work with the blue. It won't. Let's do a bit of darkness. And you'll see that the white work should prevail. Let's have a look. You do a bit of that. Right, turn it over. There you go. And the white work stays true. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to point out, so we could spend the next hour doing all the colouring, but I think you get the picture. Once you've done all your white work, then you work on the hard mat. I'm recapping now. Then you take your colours and you introduce your colour in the same way as you did the white work with light feathery strokes, shading, just like we do in the shack. Yeah. So have a look here, and you can see all the white work. So it's a combination job. You're doing the white work. You're doing the pencil work. And then the other thing that you can do, see, this is very subtle on the front. If you wanted, I'm just throwing it out there, if you wanted to make this even brighter, you can colour in from the front. So let's say this bit here, if I wanted to, I could go in with my pencils and I could actually make this more vibrant by adding a little bit of shade on the front as well. See, so I can, again, light feathery strokes, and I can add a flash of colour. It's a little bit more, got to be a bit more fastidious then with your colouring, because obviously you're working from the front. And the other thing is, if you let your black ink dry, like this is dried now, seriously dried, because it's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it? Let's say, for example, I use my Perga colours. If I pick the pink one specifically. Now, if I wanted to put the pink down on here, it's a bit extreme, right? And I'd be racing before it dries. If I use my mix mat and I put a little bit of pink down like that, let's just do that, right? And then I take my blending pen, I take my blending nib, or I just need to distribute the ink now. I could use a dry watercolor brush as well, right? But why aren't I using a stupid gun? Let me put that on there like that. There you go. That's easier. Right, so I could use my nibs now, right, on the front to put colour in. And now I can add colour from the front if I choose to. That's a bit extreme grey. Let me just put a little bit down like that. There you go. See, if I want it to be really, really bright, I can put it in directly. And if I want to, I can spread it out so that it doesn't, see, it does go, it sets quickly, doesn't it? There you go. Just spread it out gently. But what you'll find is you have to wait for that to get that kind of vibrant pink. Actually, hang on, let's just, you didn't see me spit that on there, did you? Right, a little bit of lubrication, tiny bit, and then it moves like, you know, it's lovely then. Look, little bit, tiny little bit of water, just a little bit of spit, right? And then it goes like, it's lovely. And you can do that from the front as well. Only thing about water is Parchment doesn't like water, does it? No, it doesn't, Mum. Right. So you can use your Perga colours at the front. I remember seeing somebody's artwork. Oh, it was years ago. Can't remember who it was. It might have been Tina Cox's. And it was really vibrant. And I thought, how is it when I colour in from the back, it always looks really muted? And hers was really vibrant. I could just remember it being like real Mexican beautiful. And then I asked the question. And the answer came, I use Perga colours on the front. And because the line art is black when you're stamping, you don't have to be as careful as, for example, when you're doing groovy work, when the line art is white. You've got to be very careful if you're colouring in from the front, because the white will take up but the black is very forgiving. So it's really nice to do. The only thing I will say it once and I'll say it again, you've got to wait until the black line art is dry. And sometimes, you know, I waited a week because I know I went in straight after I'd stamped it and I'd waited an hour and the pen shifted the ink and I thought, ooh, not so good. Now I've gone back a fortnight later, pen doesn't shift the ink. Interesting. Yeah, so that's good to know. Okay. So I think on the whole, we've put the stretching, we've done the parchment, we've done the white work, we've used the pencils, we've used them on the back. We know how to intensify the colour. We know how to make it even brighter on the front. You can see how this works. Yeah. So you can go more muted or you can go really bright. Whichever you prefer, it's entirely up to you. It's your artwork. But I think that designer parchment like this, it really, really does give you so much scope. You know, the job's done before you've even started. You've got this magnificent background. And then, you know what? It doesn't have to be complicated. You can just take our punches, finish up. You know, we're always wondering how to mount our work. These little punches are dynamite. Look. So you see how that can just hold. And it's nice because I like to be able to look at the back of the art too. Right, so that, my friends, I think that will do. It's already 9:10, but I want to show you, I want to show off the new set of stamps that we're going to craft along with next. So the next Groovy Tuesday. The next moment of clarity, today's Wednesday, so the next moment of clarity when you and I are going to craft along together is next Friday, not this coming Friday, the Friday after. Isn't that right, Paul? Is that right, Paul? Can you just tell me what the date is so I can say it? I can't think off the top of my head. I think it's the 21st of May on Friday at 3 o'clock, Facebook Live. Just let me know if it's the 21st or not, because I haven't got my calendar in front of me. But I want to show you, while Paul's telling me, I want to show you what I've come up with, because I think these are lovely. You may have noticed, so we're going to put that to bed now with the butterflies. Okay. I hope to see some beautiful artwork on Clarity Worldwide and on Groovy Worldwide with Cherry Green's fabulous butterflies. It's the 21st. I was correct. Thank you, Paul. 21st of May at 3 o'clock. That's next Friday. We're going to get together. Now, you may be aware, if you read my blog and you watch me, or you follow me, watch me. It's a bit spooky. I started teaching myself how to do lino cutting. You remember? So I did some lino cutting. Let me get away. I mean, this was a pretty basic. This was me trying to get to grips with it. But I did get to grips with it, and I really like it, and I've taken to it like a duck to water, right? So I've got my lino cuts, right, and then I take my lino cuts into Lucy, who's one of our graphic artists at work, who's really lovely, really talented, and a friend. She's smashing. Now, wait till you see what she's done with my art, right? So she took my sketches. No, she actually took my lino cuts. And then she came up with these, and they are pretty spectacular. Look, so you've got, oh, I know, these are something else. So this is groundbreaking for us, okay? And you can see here, we've got a positive and we've got a negative. So when you, oh no, that's not good. So when you look at these, let me take it out of the packet so you can see it better. If I take it out of the packet, you'll see it. Right. Now, so what we've got is, we've got a positive and we've got a negative. So that means you've got the lino cut and you've got the infill for the lino cut. There are 3 different ones. Let's see if I go on this camera, then you won't see the glare so much. So you can see here, we've got the meadow grasses. We've got the meadow grasses, positive and negative, with the toadstools and the little mice. Look, oh, amazing, right? Then we've got the daisy, which is the one that I did. That was the big one, that one, but that was the original. So it's pretty much bang on, right? So that's the daisy. Now the daisy comes with a bee, really beautiful little bee, and a butterflies, and a crow, very good bird, and big moons, right? And then this is a brilliant one. I love this one. We worked hard on this one, didn't we, Lucy? So this one is what I call the Midnight Rose. And we put a moon in this one. And I want to show you some artwork, and then I want to show you how that works. So first of all, let me just put that stamp to work for you, so you see how the stamps work together. Because when you look at them, right, there's a great price on them, of course, introductory price for the Craftalong. All 3 sets for the price of 2. So I think it's £29 or something like that, Paul. 29.99, 30 quid. They're £15 each. So it works out at £30 for all 3 of them. Or, oh, and then you get your club discount. Or you only buy 1 of them, and then instead of £15, it's £2 off. And then you get your club discount. So you can get all 3 of them, get 1 free, or you just buy 1 of them, and then you get £2 off. So obviously the savings in the bundle, always is. The Midnight Rose has got the hares and the fern, and they're small, right? This one's got the mice and the toadstools, the meadow grasses, and then the daisy's got the moons and the butterflies. So they're very interchangeable, work beautifully together. And these are the stamps that I'm going to be using in the next moment of clarity with you. And I just wanted to show you, bear with me, because I want to show you, first of all, I want to show you how they work together, because I think that's worth knowing. So I did this just quickly before the show started. If I take, for example, let me take I'm just going to take the lino cut. Let's just take the lino cut and take the original one, and let's just stamp it. I'm not worried either if, for example, I don't get a perfect stamp, because that's the thing about lino cut. It doesn't matter if it's a bit edgy, right? And the other thing is, you'll notice I'm using these really extra long handles, and the reason I'm doing that is so that, let's have a look, right, the reason I'm doing that is so that you you can see exactly where the stamp is. Right, so now I've seasoned the stamp. Let's call it seasoning. Now I'm going to use the wetter ink pad because I think that probably work better. So now, you remember I was saying earlier on about VersaFine? Let's go with the VersaFine. Let's turn this over. I've seasoned the stamp. When it's new, it needs to be stamped once just to get, yeah, just to get going really, just to fire it up. Right, so now let's go again and we'll just stamp up the original. This is like this is what the lino cut was, this one. So we'll do that. Right, that's nice. That's pretty. Yeah. Now let's take the other one, the one that goes with it. But this time, what I'll do is I'll stamp this one in blue. Right, so this one's going to be in the background in blue. Let's do it this way round, or we could do it the other way around. It's entirely up to you. Let's take a blue, right, and I'll show you how this works. So I can take the blue and I can stamp them. What I'm saying is you can stamp them independently. I'm just using an ocean reef. Let me just show you this. So if I just want to show you how they work together or they work apart. They work independently as well. So I'm just inking up, just putting a little bit of blue on the stamp. I'm not concerned if it doesn't fit exactly. Okay, it's not important. Let me put this one here, and you'll see that they work without each other. They just do. They work beautifully without each other. Okay. But they also work together. So now I've got the positive and the negative stamped up like that. If I go back in now with this one, the other one, watch, I want to show you. Let me take that one now, and I'm going to ink this one up. I used the wrong one, didn't I? That's all right though. They still look lovely. But I just want to show you how they work. If I take that one now, and I'm going to ink up the sky, the night sky, the midnight rose, like that. Okay, so now I've got that one in black. Then I'm going to take the other one, this one, and I'm going to stamp a bit of blue over this one. Just a little bit. It doesn't even have to be loads, right? Just get a little bit of blue in. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking a makeup sponge and I'm just distributing the ink a bit. So these lino cuts, what I'm trying to explain is, in a tired way, is that they work beautifully independently, but when you marry them up, they look great as well. Right, so let's just see. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be over the top. So now I'm going to go back in like this, and I'll see if I can't. Let me just have a look, because this is just a dye-based ink, and I should be able to just push that over there like so. Right, and then I should get a really nice, look at that. And because I've offset it a little bit, I've got a really nice drop shadow. So it looks like the moon is hitting. Do you see what I'm doing? Look, and you've got the front piece. It looks like a moon shadow. Isn't that nice? Now, the possibilities are absolutely endless with these stamps. I'll show you. Dee's done some artwork for me, or for us. I just want to show you a gallery of some of the work from Dee. Just bear with me 1 second, and I'll just show you some examples, and then I've got to show you, you know what's coming, right? You ready? So let me show you this. This is beautiful. But here we go. These are just examples of what Dee has done. And I'm going to come in tighter so you can see the artwork a bit better. Let me just come in a bit further. Right, so you can see here, designer paper, Northern Lights, beautiful. Black, and then on Northern Lights. So she's used the negative. The positive, by contrast, look, it's the same stamp, but it's the other one. And then she's used the bee, isn't that, on one of the moons. I love that idea. I love that idea, Dee. Now, here's the Midnight Rose. Again, she's used, this is so clever too. This is shaving foam in the background, and then she's used the hairs. Right, I used the hairs. Let me show you. When I was playing, see how I used the hairs over the top of the blue and a little bit of drop shadow there? But the hairs, they sit so beautifully over the top. Really whimsical. Very, very nice. This one, D, I love it. She embossed one of the meadow grass ones with an embossing pad like a Versamark, white powder. Doesn't that look sharp? So then this is great because the paper peeps through. I love this one. Now this is done on, I'd say this is probably Yupo paper, and she's used that Tim Holtz ink pad, you know, the lift ink or whatever it's called, which is very clever. And then this one, again, lovely, stamped one of the images only over the top of a piece of book. Isn't that lovely? Right, so now, and on this happy note, I will love you and leave you. Do you remember when we did the butterflies? It's going to take me 2 days. Let me show you this. When we did the butterflies, well, no, we were doing the trip to Kent. Do you remember we did, in the Shack, we did the Garden of England, and we had the triple mount. Right, ready for this? So we did the triple mount, do you remember? And then we had the Garden of England, and we had, I'm going to have to pan out a little bit so you can see it better. Right, now look, looky, looky, looky. So then what we did was, of course, we knew that we could take our butterflies and they sit in there absolutely like a charm. Look, isn't that beautiful? Right, so you use a little triangle from the stamp board, and you use, so on this particular occasion, what we had to do was we used the medium squares. Was it the medium ones? Yeah, it was. We used the medium squares from the stamp board, we stamped on them, and then we had these triple mounts. Right, so this time we've upped our game. So this triple mount was great for the Garden of England. It's great for the butterflies. So then Lisa, the other clever girl at work, and I and Dave, we put our heads together, and this is what we've come up with. I think you'll be impressed. So this is this triptych, right, or this triple mount, which works beautifully. And I know that our friend Greg Lashmar, he's offered to make, and I know several of you have taken advantage, he makes you the frame to house these mounts. Right, now, so this time we said, okay, how about this one then? So let me move this one out of the way. Hang on. I've got to show you this because we've been working hard on this one. Right. So now what we've got is this. Check it out. So we've got another triple mount. Okay. This time it's got to fit, and I've already stamped it up. So I've just stamped up my 3. Right. But what I want to show you is this. So I took one of the large boxes. This is the riser. Let me just take the riser, and I'm just going to, so that because you get a fantastic shadow on them if you do this, like that. So now we can decide, these are only the positives rather than the negative pictures. Right, you could do both. I was running out of time. Look, I've got covered trying to get this ready for you. Right, so that looks just phenomenal, right? So that looks great. But what I wanted to show you is this. This time, you're going to get these pieces, not these bits, the risers. You can use anything to, anything to put a riser in, but you're going to get these pieces as well. So when Lisa cut this out, because I said you don't want it this size, you want it a bit smaller. So she said, what about, and this is so good, right? She said, what about if I cut out a rebate like that? So now what you're actually getting, like, take that away, you're getting that and that. You see what I mean? So look, see, but you don't want this bit. So then we took that bit out, and then what we've done is we've made another little pack of the 6 bits that we've taken out of the 6. You see? So there's these, aren't there? Like that, and they come. We've cut backs for them. So these make beautiful little, they're just little lovely mini frames. Look, how cool is that? Or if you were doing a parchment project, Linda Williams will love this, you can sandwich the parchment in between the 2 like that. And this here is a gift. It comes with the bundle. So you get all these, you get 6 like this, you get the 6 triple mounts, you get the 6 well, you get 6, 12, 18 of them. Then you get the backing board of the stamp board, so you get that as well. But then also in the 20 quid, you get these little ones as well as a gift. We thought we'd throw them in too. Okay, so you get these bits and the back as well. And I thought that would make fantastic presents. I just think, you know, the different combinations with the 3 different stamps and the 3 different mounts, I think there are endless possibilities, you know, and we haven't even thrown any colour at it yet, you know. So there you go. That's what's on offer. If you get it today, we will prioritise it so that you get it early. You'll get it in plenty of time for the craft along. Okay, so that goes without saying. And I hope you take advantage of the special introductory price. These are particularly close to my heart because, of course, it's using my very first lino cuts, you know. And Lucy has just done a magnificent job of doing the positive and the negative. So there's so much mileage in these, and we all love flowers. So there you go. That's what we've got. I hope that you've enjoyed our craft along together. I certainly have. I really have. You know, I'm full of beans, and it's 8:30 in the evening on a Wednesday. What more can I say? And thank you to the team, because teamwork does make the dream work. There's a lot of work goes into all this. I'm just the front of the house. And thank you to Paul, and thank you for joining me, and thank you for Dave, and thank you, and yeah, and thank you, just thank you. Okay, lots of love. Be safe. And tomorrow, Paul is on the craft store, on the TV, on what used to be called Hochanda, and he's doing the Pergamano show. So he's got some beautiful embroidery plates, really lovely pair of embroidery plates that Tina Cox has designed for us, which are really lovely. And so he'll be with you at 11 o'clock and at 3 o'clock on the craft store. And other than that, I wish you a lovely evening. Be safe. Lots of love. Bye-bye now.